Hey everybody, it's Pastor Scott, and this is Real Talk for this week. I am the associate pastor here at Herndon United Methodist Church, and Real Talk is a weekly video check-in series that we do where we get a chance to just share what's going on inside the walls of the church, maybe with some of the services or programs or things that are outside the church or anything that's going on in our lives. It's a way for us to be able to check in with each other. And so this week will be a little different. So many of you have heard that my nephew that we've been praying for, Billy, passed away on Sunday. And it was a really difficult day to hear that news. It was a lot faster than I think we were planning on it to be. Um, but I have to share with you a couple of things. First of all, this community is amazing. I'm so thankful for the emails, the notes, the texts that I've received from some of you, and it's just been really heartwarming. And yeah, I feel that prayer. But I want to share with you something that happened with Billy during these last few months. When we were in Baltimore and the specialist came in and shared the news that it was indeed ALS and that it was a terminal disease and it was one that he would not survive, we uh, we had a time together alone, and it was just Billy and I in the room. And I remember Billy saying to me, he couldn't talk at this time, but he wrote on a board that he wanted to have a relationship with Jesus. It was one that he had previously, but had strayed away from. It's one that he realized that it was really important to him, uh, especially during these times. And one of the things that I remember Billy and I talking about when we were just in that room together alone, he said, as he wrote down, I've made bad decisions. I've done things wrong. I've hurt people. I've not been the best Christian. And he put something, does Jesus still love those of us that are broken? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. And I wore this shirt today on purpose. This is a shirt because what I said to him was this. I told him that broken crayons can still color. It's a term that I've heard before. It's a term that many people, it resonates with them for different reasons. But in this situation with Billy, my nephew was broken. My nephew was broken and he wasn't sure that he was going to be in God's favor. And one of the things that I've really learned a lot about in ministry, especially when we go through communion, is to know that we can't do anything that will make God love us less. And that's what Billy heard. During that visit, I gave him one of these olive wooden crosses. Some of you may also have some of these. Some of you that may have been going through some tough times. And I gave him that, and I was told that when he passed away, he had it in his hand. It's a really powerful message there. That even in the midst of facing death, that he sought Jesus. He sought God, and I know he found him. One of the things that we learn about in life, whether you're in ministry or not, is the importance of that relationship that we have with Jesus. During these times where we're coming out of COVID, where we're dealing with so much political turmoil and we focus on maybe the wrong people. We focus maybe on politicians or athletes or entertainers, uh, things that I like to call false idols. We can certainly enjoy those people, what they do, and what they stand for, and who they are. But I think sometimes we forget and we take our eyes off of Jesus. And I think of my nephew, and I think of this time that he had in these last few months after getting this diagnosis where he was very intentional about being able to be closer to God. being able to have that relationship is important at any time. For him, it was especially important. And so one of the things that I wanted to share today is just I wanted to share that it's not too late. It's not too late for you to have that relationship. If you've struggled, if you've just come to church just because someone made you, it's important to have that relationship, and it's not too late to get it. I read a book when my dad passed. I'm sorry, when my mom passed. Uh, a few years later, a book came out from Adam Hamilton called Why. This is a book that talks about making sense of God's will, and it goes through understanding why things happen, why bad things happen to good people, why we lose our loved ones, how do we handle it if we don't feel like our prayers are answered. When I talked to my sister, one of the things she said to me was, I prayed that God would make sure that he did not suffer, and he's no longer suffering. That's a tough prayer for a mother to ask for her child. And so I can only imagine what my sister must have been going through. And I think about this community, and I think about how many of you are going through very difficult times, and you're going through grief, and you're going through these issues and challenges, and you're not sure what's going to happen next. My message to you is the same one to Billy. It's not too late. Even in our brokenness, even in our bad decision making, even in the things that we do where we sin, even in the midst of trying to figure things out, it's not too late. We have so many options to be able to connect. One of the most important things we can do is pray. I'm so thankful for the prayers that my family has received from you in this community. These notes, these texts, these emails, they're really special. And while I may not be able to respond individually to all of you, I just want you to know that we feel those prayers, and it's really important. What's also important is that we continue praying. We continue praying for those people that are dealing with these terrible diagnoses, with having medical treatment that doesn't work and you have to go back to the drawing board, with people that are having illnesses and they just can't figure out how to make things better. I just talked to a friend of mine this morning who's in Naples, Florida, and the hurricane is a category 4 today as I'm videoing this. And he said to me, I'm not sure we made the right decision to stay here. And he said, and I have to tell you, I haven't been praying as much as I should in my life, but I've been praying today. And I told him it's not too late. My friends, it's not too late. There is somebody in your life that could use your prayers. There is so much happening in our world that we can pray for. There are so many people in this world that are hurting. There are so many people in this community, in this church, that are hurting. Come by the chapel. Stop by one of our offices and ask if we can go and pray with you in the chapel. The doors are always open and available for you to do that. I also want to just recommend one other thing as we go through this weekend, as we get back to having worship in the sanctuary, is we're gonna have communion. It's World Communion Sunday. Communion is such a special place, and it's a reminder of why it's not too late. You see, when we go through communion, there's a piece in the liturgy that says that no matter what we do, we cannot impact the amount of love that God has for us. We're going to make some wrong decisions. But as I told Billy, even in our brokenness, broken crayons, can color. I hope to see you this weekend. I hope that the weather will allow us to be together at 8 o'clock. If not, we will also have service at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the sanctuary. Especially want to send a shout out of thanks to those involved that have given a little more, that have helped put things together so that we could have a new HVAC unit in the sanctuary. What a blessing that is. It's something that you don't think about till it happens. I want to thank especially those of you that are involved in the bucket challenge. We've been challenged to do 4 buckets. We put 10 together already, and we have another possibly 10 or more to go. I want you to think about all those people that are dealing with these floods. We have family members that are living down in Florida, that are living in Puerto Rico, that are suffering from injury and just trying to figure out how to keep the power on, how to keep the floods out. And I want us to pray for them. But you know what? One thing I will tell you that I've seen about this church, no matter what, and we've talked about it in the last few weeks, is you show up. You show up for backpacks, you show up for flood buckets, you show up for prayer, you show up for hot dogs, for cookouts, for tailgates, for trunk or treats. Let's continue showing up. And let's invite other people to come. Come to this great, amazing community of faith that we have here at Herndon United Methodist Church. Let them experience the love that I've experienced, that some of you have experienced. It's not too late. You are loved.